Well, Derrick, as you were watching Tom Brady lift up another Super Bowl trophy, but this time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, did you take pride in that, or did you think, hey, we did it first?
No, Al, from the seat that I was sitting in as co-chairman of Super Bowl here in 2021 and Super Bowl 55, I was grateful was going off without a hitch. But I was excited at the same time as a fan to see the Buccaneers last year make history of being the first team to host a Super Bowl, not just play it off and win it, and it being 55. I was extremely, extremely excited as a fan. It was all about what those guys had done on that field last year to win and persevere through the season. But just as important to see how they won with a dominant defensive performance made me, again, just proud as a fan.
And again, it's only right that it was Super Bowl 55. And you tell me, whose defense was better? Last year's Bucs or your Bucs?
Oh, man, I've had this debate with Ira Kaufman, hands down. You take 2002, we would have loved to play against this team, but I'm picking my guys, man, that we found a way to get it done in comparing the two. So it's always fun to go down position by position to make those comparisons. I just hope for the franchise sake, hey, let's win a few more so you can have that many more comparisons because that solidifies a lot, and just for our area, if we just take a step back and realize the success of 2020 of all our sports pro teams, starting here with the Lightning and the Rays making a run and the Bucs capping it off and, the Lightning even 2021 kicking it off again. And our Rays are, position themselves to win the division again. And hopefully we can have that sustained success, of what Tampa Bay really is. And it seemed like all the sports franchises are buying into it and hopefully our Bucs continue to do their part.
How tough is it to repeat?
I like to think it was tough for us because we necessarily didn't understand that, Al, what that truly meant in 2003. It wasn't, as I look back on it, our attitude was more, hey, let's do what we did and do it better. I think we got caught up too much on that side of the line versus finding that balance. Yes, you got to improve on what you did earlier and make it better. At the same time, you got to move on and embrace the new challenges and new obstacles. And I think by the time we figured that out by mid-season of 2003, it was too late.
How tight was your Super Bowl team? Was it just you, Sapp, and Lynch that were true voices on this team? Or was there someone else that we might be surprised to hear who it was? How was that dynamic?
Well, as you're famously known, that, Simeon Rice was our head coach for 3 days. We went to San Diego. Coach Drew named him head coach for 3 days till the coaches got out there on that Wednesday. But, it was everybody had their unique spots, where the stage was big enough for everybody to stand on it and play a significant role. And I think one of the things that we embraced the team that year was everybody's role was important, from the practice squad all the way up to, the general managers. Everybody had a role to play, and everybody embraced their role and what it meant to be champions that year. So, there are definitely some stories behind the scenes that I can't share, here on the podcast.
Oh, come on, Derrick. Just one.
But, for the most part, we were very fluid in our communications, whether it was offensively, defensively. We was there for each other, whether it was the emotions of Joe Jared Vicious dealing with, his family during that time, during the season. You had a couple guys going through some situations that did make, the headlines, but we were there, for them as teammates. So that's the beautiful thing about a team sport. It gives everybody a chance to step inside that bubble and protect ourselves.
After you win the Super Bowl, you are Super Bowl champions. Then you have to open on the road at Philly, the first game.
Disrespect.
Very few. I see that as extremely disrespectful.
Yes, and we wore that chip on our shoulder for that first game. Hey, how dare they schedule us against Philly? Okay, they're opening a new stadium. Well, make them play Dallas. Why they have to play us, the defending champs? So I think we made such a gripe that year that, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody will that's watching this. But I think since that year, every team that's won the Super Bowl has opened the season at home, because we made a really, really big deal, about the NFL putting us in that position. But let's look on the bright side. We won the game. We shut down the vet. We opened the link with losses.
Now, with that, after the game, what did it mean to this team to do that?
Well, we talked about that being one of the rallying cries, and, I hate to say bulletin board material, but it was something that Coach Gruden played on in terms of keeping us motivated, focused, heading into that week. It didn't matter if it was a Monday night game, who cares? But we should not have been playing on the road. So, again, we used it to our emotional advantage, and we went out and won. But like I said before, again, putting it in a proper perspective years later, we did a lot of things in that game that we should have built on momentum-wise moving forward and climbing the mountain again, not just the attitude of repeating.
When John Gruden came in, he challenged your defense. Talk about some of those practices. And did any of you guys want to hit Mike Allstott right on, head on, or Michael Pittman, or were there any kind of battles behind the scenes that we didn't know about?
Oh, yeah, we wanted to, but we probably felt that wasn't in the best judgment to be trying to hit Mike Allstott. But Coach Gruden, back then, we were so young and full of energy and practice. Coach Gruden really brought in a mindset of teaching us how to practice. Him being brought up in this industry around a lot of veteran teams and veteran coaches, he manifested and changed our practices differently, where we got smarter as we worked harder. For us, it was all about just go full out and give your max, and, wasn't looking at, okay, beyond how do we control this? How do we taper down? How do we turn intensity up on different parts of practice? How do you back off and take advantage of the mental part of practice? So Coach Gruden brought a different mindset in how we practice. Very rarely, how did, the first teamers win against the first teamers. But what Coach Gruden did was built up the depth behind us. And he attacked us defensively. Every day in practice, he'd come out trying to kick our butts. And that was something that we were used to winning all the time. We weren't used to losing in practice. And they had quite a few wins that made us self-check ourselves, say, you guys not as good as you think you are. And it made us be more conscious of getting turnovers and turn those turnovers into scores in better field position for our offense. So same goal as Coach Dungy, but went about it a different way, but yet we got, again, the same results and wins, and ultimately getting the championship in 2002.
What were the Bucs like when you first arrived?
I was still riding the high on, from Florida State, being drafted, here in the same state, not leaving, good weather, riding the wave of 1994 season where they ended, winning, was 5 out of the last 6 or 4 out of the last 5, and getting big free agents at that time, and Alvin Harper, Kenny Gant. So I got drafted when the momentum was going up. And few people remember we were in first place in 1995, my rookie year, halfway during the season at 5-2. But we were not in first place, under the right foundations, because we crumbled down the stretch, and ultimately led to Coach Weiss's being replaced by Coach Dungy. But it was tough for me because I wasn't used to losing that many games. But at the same time, we had a good core here that was young and hungry and committed to winning and doing what it takes. So luckily for me, I only had a chance to spend only 1 year in that environment because Coach Dungy came the following year in '96, and the model of consistency was put into place and even sustained through today.
What did Tony Dungy mean to you?
It's not what he meant, is what he is. I'm very few players have an opportunity to have a relationship that I have with Coach Dungy now as a mentor, friend, former coach. And it's all about, me being a servant leader, and he holds me to that standard today. And I just thank God that he came in and really bridged the gap between the Bucs as a football team and us as community leaders. We worked at that. That was one of his foundational principles of why he was brought here to be the head coach. It wasn't about wins and losses. It was about us serving the community through the game of football. And you see the results of that even today with my work, with my school, my foundation, players that are retired here still involved in the community. And even the Bucs today, through the ownership, of the Glazer family, everybody's serving the community. And we can all point back, to 1996 when Coach Dungy got here. That's when that momentum took off.
And you played for the late Bobby Bowden. What was his influence on your life?
Faith, family, football. He said that's the only time I made 3 Fs in life and got a passing grade. So, so Coach Bowden really set the foundation of influencing me from a young teenager to leaving college as a productive young man ready to take on the world. The life lessons of the game is the game, but the game is not bigger than life. Life is always bigger than the game. And we're going to take lessons from the game and build them into our lives as men. And even today, you see a lot of us playing and paying forward those efforts and those lessons from Coach Bowden and his staff. We try to build that into our lives today as productive men.
In recruiting, was it always Florida State, or was there someone else out there that kind of caught your eye? You were one of the top recruits in the country. Everybody wanted you.
Yeah. Yes. It was a nice battle. I would say it was among some legendary coaches coming out of high school. But, it boiled down to this with me, Al, because all the football things sounded the same. And it was like, hey, I closed my eyes and said, if I never played a down of football, where would I go to school? Because that was the reality in my life that I faced. It was always about my academics to me. And I said I would probably choose a school that's closest to Pensacola because if something happens to me, my parents need to get here quickly. So being only 3 hours away, that was it. And, Coach Bowden, that was it for me in my decision. But my parents were different. Coach Bowden he's a closer, man. He was a closer. He came in like, Mario Rivera, with that cutter. He came in with those closing words, and my mom and dad were definitely sold on him. So I would say for my parents, and they've said this when they were alive, for them, it was Florida State or nothing else. But for me, there were a couple other schools I was looking at, but it boiled down to Florida State.
And what were those schools?
Oh, my number 2 actually was Florida. My number 3 was Miami. Auburn was 4, and Georgia was 5. That was my.
Oh. Can you imagine Seminole fans knowing that Florida was number 2 on your list and Miami was number 3? They'd still have a fit over that.
Well, the good part about it, man, the state of Florida was always my top 3. So, so for me, leaving the state was a little bit hard. And actually, Coach Lou Holtz, man, because I took a visit to Notre Dame. He said that right from. He's like, hey, after meeting you and seeing you, I love you as a football player and what you're doing in the classroom. But I don't see any of those Florida coaches letting you out of the state. You seem like a Florida guy to me. You seem like a Florida guy. I was like, yeah, coach, this white stuff on the ground don't fit with me.
What are you doing for the Lightning?
Oh, I'm EVP of our community and business affairs. So I'm involved with our team, whether it's our revenue departments or our strategic planning. I touch a lot of tentacles here with Mr. Vinnick in our community. So I like to say, if it's off the ice, I'm involved. Involved in it. So it's great, not just to sit here and lead our teams and putting the best product and relationships in our community from the Lightning standpoint, fast forward. But man, it's so proud to get in there and strategy plan and see us grow as a team, and again, just continue to build our Tampa Bay community by everything that Jeff Vinnick had in his vision when he bought the team in 2010. He wanted to transform our city, and I'm doing my part to serve that mission.
Derrick Brooks, thanks so much for taking the time, and enjoy this football season.
All right, take care. God bless you.
Derrick, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. Sorry it took so long to make it work, but I'm so thankful that you did.
All right, no problem. Take care.
Right.
Okay,
Hey,
we'll see you, bud.
Hey, Ken, we releasing this, or just tag me on it, whatever's being released when it's shown.
Okay, yes, I will get Ben to send you the file, Al, so that way you have it.
Perfect.
And then he'll be your mode of communication, so that way we'll be able to give Derrick.
Yeah, I'll make sure your identity is tagged and we get a chance to retag it too.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, you guys.
Hey, yeah,
Bye.
take care.
Okay.
Bye.